Greetings, it's Bloody Mary. I am a native New Orleanian. I'm an author. I own the Haunted Museum. I do seance. I do ghost hunt. And I teach you. You've seen me on almost 1,000 different TV shows all over the world. But I want you to see my show inside the cottage of Voodoo Queen Marie Laveau. Today, we go on both sides and talk about the spirits. Follow. We're going to go talk to my neighbor. You can hear her through the wall, the Cajun Queen. And we're going to talk about any experiences or her knowledge of Marie Laveau. Any minute now. Happy Halloween. Well, I'm going to leave my 1022 side and go next door. And we are going to go meet the Cajun Queen. Voodoo Queen, Cajun Queen, and little teeny tiny queen. Who's that?
That's Boo Kitty.
Excuse me. Who dat?
Who that is? That's Boo Kitty.
Totally got it wrong, even though I'm a
Boo
local.
Kitty has a crown too. I guess I should have put it on.
I remember seeing it the other day. So this was once one single cottage, now a double, more or less a double shotgun, a little bit different than that. Built on the old foundation. We're going to go in the other side before we go back.
Come in.
Okay.
Be Avenue.
I'm going to put some more rose petals. I followed from the other side to here. They were already on her altar. It's always important to invite the spirits and bring an offering for the spirits so that we can work together. Remember, this is a social thing, not a science experiment. We want to communicate. I always come with an offering, and blessed rose petals are the best thing. Let's keep on looking. Oh, out on the side porch. I don't have a porch, and her porch was closed in to make a new entrance and closets and things that they didn't have in the old days. But the other house would have been much closer to my side of the wall. There would have been a little bit of earth in between and outbuildings all around the cottage. We are still on the old foundation of the original house of the family of the Laveaus, the Marie Laveau family. And as you see, one side there's a porch, and one side it might be a bathroom. And now we go into the back, where there's a kitchen that leads us into the courtyard. Our courtyards are divided in half, but we each have our own altars in our own way. So those buildings in the back wouldn't have always been there, but when they were there, sometimes you get from one building to the next, and they left a set of stairs, which she made an altar out of, and I give some more rose petals. But you look over on my side, you see that we did some work in that area right where the greenery is there. My husband was digging, and just about 3 feet or 2.5 feet below is the original brick patio. And we went and gave some offerings down there, and he dug and he dug and he dug and he dug. But it goes to brick, the old original brick, part of the foundation of the courtyard. So we will do rituals back there and plant sacred herbs and other such things and have our own altar to Marie Laveau over on this side. Our cottages are slightly different, but we have a shared courtyard and altars. Let's go back in through the kitchen into the dining room, which my dining room side is for making the gree-gree and the dolls and cooking some stew, some magical stew. This is her guest room or bedroom, which is my techie room on the other side, where I get a lot of EVPs and electronic voice phenomena. On the other side of this room is where I have my main altar and do seances and spirit connections. And there is a shared fireplace. And of course, the living room. Those are the windows that go out to the street. The first 6 to 7 feet of this was not part of the original foundation for the original Marie Laveau house, was off the banquette or sidewalk. So we've got it all mapped out, but the energies are everywhere in the place that we are connecting with, because whatever happens at a place stays at a place. And yes, this house is haunted, and by the spirit of the queens, Marie Laveau. And us.
Welcome to the Bloody Mary Show. I'm Voodoo Queen Bloody. Clap. Welcome to the Bloody Mary Show. I'm Voodoo Queen Bloody Mary, and you are
Cajun Queen.
She doesn't have a thing after that, so just the Cajun Queen.
Cajun Queen tours.
And Bloody Mary's tours. So we both have tours. We're both born and raised here and have a long lineage. And we both have a different side of the old Creole cottage of Voodoo Queen Marie Laveau and family, since her grandmother was here, her mother, her children, her grandchildren. So she's on the other side of that wall, and we are here inside right now together. I talk to all kind of people that are psychics and all kind of people that are ghost hunters and locals who are historians and a lot of other things. But some of the important things to me, as I'm trying to dig to the truth about Marie Laveau, is recording all the things that you heard as a kid. Not what you hear now, because with the internet, that's just gone insane and crazy. And what we hear outside of our window. There was even a comic book about her in the 1960s. Pretty famous one where she lived forever and she was kind of vampiric. She's kind of, I'll put the picture up for you guys. She was kind of cool. So it's not like this is new.
Right.
People are adding things to her story. It started with Robert Talant's book, which was what, 1940? In the 1940s, I believe, like that. In the Voodoo Queen and New Orleans Voodoo, he took a lot of poetic license and definitely took the male perspective on a woman who was kind of in charge, you know? But I heard things on the first grade or kindergarten schoolyard. Now, and when you hear that in a town you grow up from people and other kids, what they heard from their parents, those were real stories that were going around. It wasn't something we picked up on the internet. There are many stories about Marie Laveau that are embedded in this building. Many people believe, including myself, that you can tap into the residual energy, what happened here, as well as the spirits. And I want to add some of that to the book series that I'm creating now. But I also want to know from people that grew up, do you remember like what the first thing or what you thought about Marie Laveau like as a kid?
You know, because I was born in the 60s, well, 60. I think the first thing I remember is the song.
Oh, okay.
The songs, Marie Laveau.
The
She'll put
Bobby
a spell
Bear
on
one.
you. Yeah. You know, for some reason, I remember that. Now,
It's a big song. I didn't even hear about that until 10, 15 years ago.
Oh.
I didn't know that song. I knew the other one, the good one.
Right.
That's another bad one that she's going to put a spell on you.
Right.
And
she'll put a spell on you.
Yeah.
There's so many now. I have them all in my my iTunes apps, but so I don't really remember that much. You know, now I don't know if it's because I was raised on the West Bank, and
I shouldn't have.
I know that we knew
mattered
about
too
it.
much, but
right,
but you never heard of. You said you had family in St. Louis 1, so she was in St. Louis 1. You didn't hear about anything there.
Yes, that's the odd part. Cemetery was open.
Oh, sure.
So of course we'd all go. We'd all put our 3 red X's on the grave. Leave something. I mean, I still do every time I go there. I leave something. I don't mark on it. But every time I go to the Voodoo tree, I leave something. But so to me, it's such a natural part of growing up here, like hearing jazz all your life and those stories too, that I'm not as tuned into it as you are.
You didn't have to know why. I had to know why.
Right.
But you just went along and did it because that's what your mama did, and that's what somebody else, or your dad.
We know Marie Laveau, and we respect her, and I talk about it with my children, and we got voodoo dolls when we visited, because again, I lived away for a little while. I lived in Europe for 3 years, and then Northern Virginia.
But you come back and forth, yeah.
Right. And lots and lots. Exactly. But again,
people that aren't from here, they're afraid of everything.
Right.
Because they only hear about it from the news, from the TV shows, which have to focus on all the dark in order to get the publicity. Right. And of course, there's a lot of prejudice that was involved.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, which wasn't as much in the mid-19th century pre-Civil War times, the voodoo heyday of Marie Laveau. Right. Hardships, yes. Slavery problems. It stopped. Yes. Okay, was I wrong, Marie? Yeah, Marie Laveau, it was said to have a curse on this town. Anybody who was from here always had to come back. Now, it wasn't going to be me when I was a kid. I couldn't wait to get out of here. This town wasn't big enough for me. I moved to New York, went to college, got married, got divorced. I came back couple times a year. My family's always been here.
Mm-hmm.
And my move back, I was involved with spiritism, with ghost hunting, with a little bit more of hoodoo than voodoo.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't an initiated priestess, but I was doing some hands-on healing and dream work just naturally. So I was what they call a natural. But I always, I had to research more. And Spirit made sure that different people came into my path that taught me things. And I was working originally, I suppose, with the Voodoo Museum, where my sister had been forever and ever, even longer. Charles Gandolfo and some of the earlier voodoo priests and priestesses in town. But I focus on New Orleans voodoo, which no one else does. And I mean, the difference, it's not Haitian voodoo, and it's a little bit Congo and a little bit Haitian, but mainly African. And then Native American, of course, which was part of the land, spirit of land, which is swamp magic. And European folk magic certainly was also thrown into the pot, and folk Catholicism.
I was just going to throw that. For me, it's the whole, this is what I'm used to. That's why I always say you can never really get away from Catholicism because of the incense and the candles and
if you're
rituals.
Okay, so as far as spirit work is concerned,
right,
or spirit connections, you can hear spirits, you can feel spirits, you can smell spirits. You may have a very developed sense of smell in the spirit world, that the sense memory of a smell will bring you to church, will bring you here. You may be stronger in that sense. In my museum, I have people that smell things all the time. We'll just be sitting there, the room will smell like pot. It's like, I'm not fine yet.
Right.
Chill the hell out. They want things like not cough and drugs. So there are smells that will come up out of nowhere. And then there's sights and, of course, sounds and touch. Oh, I guess I should ask you this. Because I've had some, but have you had any paranormal experiences since you've been here? Yes. And what would you share, and when would you hear or feel them?
Okay. Well, I feel like I've always had a little bit of the connection.
Yes.
I never pursued anything. It's just sometimes I believe it comes to some people and it doesn't. For me, it always has. Like when
a natural.
Right. Back in the day, I was pregnant with my second baby with the second husband. And
what's that baby's name?
That baby's no longer in existence. That I know. It's okay.
Well, actually, that's not true.
And it would have been Jackson.
Not true.
Right. It would.
That baby's one of your spirit guides.
Exactly.
Hey, Jackson.
Absolutely.
And he's a smart ass.
So
he just kind of tipped his hat.
So one night I woke up feeling a lot of activity and sat up and literally went, Ernest, Mozzie's my maternal grandmother. In the room. My husband wasn't in there. He was in the other room with the other baby, with my buddy, Buddy Boop, who lives here. And literally, I sat up. I knew they were in the room, but didn't see anyone. Got up, went to the bathroom. All the security lights around the house are on. Every light is on. Like, what is happening? That's going on. So sure enough, that was the first time.
Sorry, trying to make it stop. Please listen. Thank you.
Thank you. And that was the day I feel like they came to take the baby, because that was it. After that, never felt movement. Right. And then,
it's good you named him.
Yeah.
Because I do that work spiritually in healings with people, that if someone had a miscarriage and they didn't name them and they're still like kind of mentally holding the baby in them, I help birth them. We name them. We do a little ceremony. And you let them know that I'm freezing right now, by the way. Let them know, like I'm letting you know that baby is still with you, still part of your family. And no longer with us in the flesh, but there's still spirit family that you have around you. And my God, Marie Laveau worked so much with babies. She either worked with the midwives or occasionally was a midwife herself, but we know they worked together. And it is okay for me and you and her, for sure, who did a lot of baptisms. Because the Catholic Church, bad Catholic Church custom at the time, was that they wouldn't let you bury an unbaptized baby. So they would say, no, we baptize them before you die. It wasn't,
I didn't even do all that.
Yeah.
I do.
Well, no, not now. I'm talking about
exactly in the past.
Now
no,
you can bury
there
the
are still people who still, and I just couldn't do all that. But so that was the first encounter that I recall.
And the unborn babies, I've talked to the ghosts of unborn babies of many mothers who didn't know they were pregnant, who were pregnant, that they haunt them before they're there. So they already start running them.
Yes.
But anyway, go on.
So that, I don't have a whole lot that I remember, through that. Because again, I never really paid attention to it.
Right.
It's the background. And fast forward
to today.
I definitely felt called to this house.
Right.
I'd see it on my tours because,
Right.
of course, what it was abandoned for a while. Yeah, no one was living there.
Yeah,
I've only been home 4
owned.
years. I've only been home for 4 years.
Okay.
So, I'm doing my tours. Then I see that lease sign, and it is like, oh my God,
it's tough. Yeah.
It's me. I'm here.
Me too. I got it like immediately.
Right.
I got in before you did, but you had already talked to it.
Yes, because he had to do the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I said I want the bathtub replaced because it was the old jets.
That means something has gone through. This is a Rempod. So when the electromagnetic energy is disrupted, then it will go off. Usually, but a spirit is there. So the spirit is very interested in a bath.
Yeah.
They might not have had a bathtub.
And I did a cleansing in that bathtub recently. But yeah. Now it's April.
She's here. What's up? Reset. Thank you. We acknowledge that the spirits are listening. Let's talk more about them. I think maybe are you getting jealous? What's going on? So
okay.
Let's put it this way.
Boom.
You were not. Marie Laveau wanted you to be here.
Yes.
I'm rephrasing
this. Absolutely. Definitely.
Have you
compelled.
felt
and
or heard
why?
a spirit since you've been here?
Yes.
Okay.
And seen things.
I have found a lot of auditory things come through here.
I see one of my hat pins stabbed in an avocado.
Okay. Did you give her an avocado? They like offerings, food offerings, spirit offering. Got to give her an avocado, or use the avocado as your voodoo doll.
Right.
No.
Well, and
I do give food offerings.
That it was her warning me about the boyfriend that I eventually moved in there.
Well.
Can't listen.
I
was warned about him before.
I don't.
There was a different person had come in there at this time, right when we had broken up. And she did that reading on the place. Like, that was unexpected. I was just showing her my place.
I thought that was at the beginning when the avocado.
That was the beginning,
okay.
But then when this person came in, she was like, "Yeah, that was Marie Laveau talking to you." So
could have been. She's protective over relationships and over women in general because she took care of a lot of women and a lot of people that weren't pursuing God. I mean, there's so much of that today, domestic violence. But there was domestic violence there, coupled with slave owner violence and rape much that she was working with all women and women's rights. Quite a lot.
Like how did this get from my closet with my hats into the avocado? That's the first thing. The second thing would do the handkerchiefs of my grandmother, Jeanette Pitot Boudreau.
Okay.
That's my daddy's mama. Had fallen off of that wall.
And they're in frames, right?
They're in glass frames. Yeah. And I sleep right there on the other side of the pocket door. And how did I not hear that?
Right.
How?
The things moved.
Things moved without me hearing them as well, because it happened in the night. Because I got up in the morning and was like, the hell? When did this happen? How does this
teleporting or apporting or moving things around? And the apport was the pin. Save that pin because that's your magic pin.
Okay.
And
I didn't even think about all
we have the children. We have voice here. Children, voices. Some things moved around. A lot of sound anomalies. Weird stuff. Coming on, like we've recorded, like it sounds like the end of the world or outer limits, and it's not a peep that you can hear it.
Right.
There are direct voice phenomena. You can hear them as plainly as you can hear me. And of course, I have a haunted music box that plays on its own. Lots of sounds.
Right. And I feel like all my spirits come to me. My dad,
they agree. They're coming right now. Thank you.
My dad, I'm going to name them all too. My dad, my friend John Thomas Stewart, my friend Todd, my first husband Ernest, my grandmother, the baby. I just feel like these
they're your
people,
family. Your God family, your family. They're around you. They're your entourage.
Exactly.
They protect, and they would know Marie Laveau and her grandmother and children and mother. The spirits that were here are here will know your spirits because we don't walk alone.
Right. And I feel like the tours I've always given, I've always said, I respect her as a brilliant businesswoman. You know what I mean? Because she was so many things.
Yeah.
But, and again, voodoo wasn't anything to be feared, but yet people feared it. And then people played on the fear. But I think.
And people were jealous because this is a jealous freaking town.
Right.
And they have to make up things. When they can't do something, they have to make up something bad about the other person to deflect their power, thinking that it's going to give them more power, which it never does.
Mm-mm.
I told you, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and my great-great-grandmother lived directly across the street.
Yes.
In the late 1800s, early 1900s. So there was already a family connection around here in this, and feeling the energy here and connecting with it. They definitely have a lot to say, and she wants her story to be corrected because she's a healer, not a murderer like American Horror Story wants to do it, and she wants people to know. But they come up with the most ridiculous stories, from zombies to murdering to even rewriting, voodoo around her, which I guess everybody, I've heard a few people dress it, but it's doubtful that she was a voodoo queen. It's like, no, she was a voodoo queen.
Right.
But they were in a different tradition, so they try to talk about their tradition. Did she have a sign on her door that said voodoo queen? No. That is not what people did. Though she did make ends meet and was a businesswoman, she did not have a registered business that you could go see what she
hairdresser.
Right.
And not a registered healer.
She did not do that, but her in the French Quarter and in old historic buildings, they all have a story to tell.
Right.
Just like we have a story to tell when people come out, and I'm an official storyteller, or what we call a griot in voodoo, which is the sacred sounds and stories. And I opened the Haunted Museum for that reason too, because ghosts are our history, and they have stories that they want told. And we'll tell you inside stories, and then we'll also let you know the historic ones. And when I wondered, and I should text you from now on, like when I'm doing a seance over here, I'll go, hey, by the way, did you feel anything in the last hour?
Right.
To really pinpoint to see if things are going through the walls. Because, so I do a seance, or Boo Kitty knows.
Boo Kitty hears.
Boo Kitty lives in. So sometimes we do the ghost hunt, which is what we've had that on. I'm going to turn this on real quick before you go. This one, to see if it has anything to say. It's been really annoying lately. This is something you've got to do this. Remember this? You got to hit it to make it work. We don't want a lot of radio. Do you have something to say to me and the Cajun Queen? You? This is a ghost box. This is a ghost box. What do you have to say? Well, that went off.
Well, that's good.
The Rempod went off. This one's got a battery issue, so I'm not going to mess with it too much. But we're going to say goodbye. We're going to see if the spirits, double. If the spirits can say hello or goodbye to the ghost box number 2. Ghost? What you got to say? Technicians assist. Spirit guides, butlers, family. You have something to say to me and the Cajun Queen. Bonjour. I just called to say hello, goodbye. Bonsoir. What you gotta say? Dirt. We'll take the dirt. We dish the dirt. We also dish the truth. And we will continue to do so.
Who's there? Hi. Kekila, what's your name? Hello. There are many children spirits in this house, and they love the dolls. Any of you want to talk? Check. Who's there? There's a lady that walked from there to there. And many children's spirits. Things move around and disappear. Who's that? Who's there? Me? Yeah, besides me. Catherine? Marie Catherine? Catherine?
These numbers are going to change.
Talk. What have you got to say? Yolali, Mademoiselle Marie. What you got to say? Hello? I've got to go. Say goodnight. Farewell.
Hola, Mademoiselle Marie, we shall spread the word.
I am Voodoo Queen Bloody Mary. I own the Haunted Museum around the block. I have a tour company. I was just filming an interview on my YouTube and talking about the spirit energy and things that happen here. And I walked out the darn door and I watched it and you saw it at the same time. What happened?
I stopped in front of your window to admire it, and the penny jumped off and fell in front of my feet.
A penny.
Copper was worth more than gold, and many of our slaves came from the Gold Coast of Africa. So
Originally, Voodoos were nicknamed the 3 penny people. So I would say that is good luck for you from Voodoo Queen Marie Laveau. So welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to New Orleans, and you got a good blessing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you mind if I take a picture in front of your window for a second?
No, please do. Bye, guys.
Okay.